What's going on, Yu-Gi-Oh fans? PlotArmorCards in the house, and Tearlaments is about to run rampant on the TCG. And you guys know this with the release of the Ishizu stuff. So I wanted to take a look at this article known as the best cheap tech cards in order to beat Tearlaments. Now, Tearlaments is an interesting strategy. I would say the best way to beat it is, one, you want to be able to get rid of the field spell, and secondly, you want to be able to either banish stuff before it hits the grave, or you want to get rid of stuff or negate stuff that's in the grave about to activate its effects. And that can be done in a various number of ways. I'm just curious as to what this article says about that. So first of all, it looks like Dimension Shifter. Now I completely agree with this card. Dimension Shifter, if you have no cards in your graveyard, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the grave until the end of the next turn. Any card that is sent to the grave is banished instead. The problem here is not every deck can make full use of this, because in my experience at least, you'll have, like, sometimes you won't draw this right off the bat, and then certain decks won't, like, banish everything, they'll have stuff in the grave, so that kind of becomes a dead card, So I would recommend for those decks maybe Macrocosmos, etc., etc. Macrocosmos is limited, but its effect is really, really good. You can ignore the first effect, but the one that we're dealing with is, while this card is on the field, any card sent to the graveyard is removed from play instead. That is insane, and it completely destroys Tearlaments. So, but it is a continuous trap, so you would have to wait. I mean, if you're going first, then it doesn't really matter, I guess. But there are a lot of spell and trap removal things, so that's something to think about. They all have their pros and cons, right? So I don't know too much about Psi Frame Gear Gamma. Now, I think this is not actually one of the selections here, but I think so far in the modern meta, this is not as good as it used to be. So I have seen it played on occasion. However, like I said earlier, it's most people I say that I've talked to would agree that maybe it's gotten a little bit worse. Graveyard hating traps, hand traps, yes sir. DD Crow, this is a must-have. During either player's turn, you can discard this card to the graveyard, remove from play one card from your opponent's grave. This does insane stuff, along with the Bestial stuff. So if you're interested in more of the Bestial stuff, maybe you don't want to run DD Crow, but I would recommend running DD Crow anyway, because the Bestial stuff only deals with light and dark. From my experience, Tearlaments also has, like, they have, what, aqua water stuff in there too, so DD Crow would be able to hit anything, whereas the Bestial stuff, you'd be limited to light and dark. So maybe you should look into this, but if you are running on a budget, you can pick up a couple of the Bestial cards for kind of cheap. So Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion, we got next one. This card or effect is activated, or when a card or effect is activated that includes any of these effects, quick fight, you can discard this card and negate the activation. Add cards from the graveyard to the hand or extra deck. Special summon monster cards from the graveyard, banish cards from the grave. So yeah, this definitely is a must-have. Definitely does help out. Plus, it's been reprinted a bunch of times now, especially from the Structure Deck Legends of the Crystal Beast. You can get this thing for less than $1. So definitely, I would say, is worth picking up. Skullmeister. Now, this is one that I think is super dope. It's not one you see used very often, at least. When this card is activated in your opponent's graveyard, quick effect. When a card effect is activated in your opponent's graveyard, quick effect, you can send this card from the hand to the grave in order to negate that effect. This is pretty good. But the one thing is, it doesn't essentially, like, get rid of that thing from the grave, you know what I'm saying? So maybe there is potential for Tearlaments to take advantage of that, so maybe that might be why you don't see it as much. But I would say this is still a solid card on a budget. Remove the field spells. Cosmic Cyclone. I definitely recommend picking up some sort of spell and trap removal for this meta, because one, we got ourselves Mystic Mine, 2, we got ourselves Runics, and 3, this field spell is the worst. The OCG, I think, limited it to 1. That tells you how bad it is, right? But the TCG is not going to be doing anything anytime soon. So paying 1,000 life points to banish a spell or trap on the field is really, really good. Can get around a lot of, like, destruction effects and whatnot. So I do like this card. Evenly matched. Yes and no. So at the end of the battle phase, if your opponent controls more cards than they do, you can make your opponent banish cards from... Oh, I'm mistaken there. That's a big yes. I thought for some reason it destroyed. It does not. It banishes. So you can make your opponent banish cards from their field face down, so they control same number of cards as you do. And this is reprinted in Magnificent Maven, so this is the pre-sale price, and no way in hell am I paying $21 for this card. So expect this to get a little bit lower day one. And then I would definitely recommend picking up a playset, because a lot of times if you're going second, this will just shut down your opponent entirely. So really, really good. Floodgates are good. Yes, they are. Floodgates have been doing lot. They've been putting into work this meta. Holy crap. Abyss Dweller, for example, it just takes 2 level 4 monsters. You can make this in a lot of different decks. Well, this card has material attached to it that was originally water. All water monsters you control gain 500 attack. We don't care about that. But once per turn, quick effect, you can detach a material from this card. Your opponent cannot activate any card effects in their graveyard this turn. So it does have a lot of potential. But you'd have to, there's a specific way you'd have to play it, I guess. So, like, if you're going first, then you can wait for your opponent's turn and quick effect, But if you're going second, then it's not as good. That's why hand traps, I would say, have a little bit of advantage on that end, right? But overall, this is a solid card and can shut down Tearlaments. So definitely worth running if you are running a deck that has 2 level 4s. With honestly, most decks do. Next, we got ourselves Soul Drain. I picked up a playset of these. I forget what structure deck it was in, but I do have some. I have multiple copies of Soul Drain, so I'm assuming it was in a structure deck. Activate by paying 1,000 life points. Monsters that are banished, as well as monsters in the graveyard, cannot activate their effects that start a chain. So this is really, really good. It has the potential to shut everything down. I don't run this personally in my Eldritch deck because it has potential to kind of screw me as well. So that's why I don't run that. However, I'm kind of thinking about it now because the way the modern meta is working, this would be really, really good. Moving forward, fringe options to consider: Earth Shattering Event, as well as Dimension Fortress Weapon. I have not heard of Dimension Fortress Weapon. Cards cannot be sent from the deck to the grave. Ooh. Okay. So if someone has a way to get this out like consistently, I would definitely recommend maybe setting that up, because then your opponent would have to go through their battle phase, or they need a card that has like Regeki-ish ability that can just get rid of something on the field. Plus a lot of monster effects honestly can get rid of stuff too. So it's something to think about. However, I feel like there are ways to get around this card pretty easily. Earth Shattering Event. I don't know what this thing even is. Actually, I do. I've seen it before. If a card is sent from the deck to the graveyard, target one card in either player's graveyard, shuffle it into the deck. Also, neither players can send cards from the deck to the grave for the rest of this turn. That is insane. Earth-Shattering Event. I like that card. That is pretty crazy. I'm going to have to look into this. Yes, I like this card. That is insane. I'm going to be testing out Earth-Shattering Event, and I'm probably also going to be testing out Soul Drain in my Eldritch deck. We'll see how it works. It's just Soul Drain will kind of screw over my card too. My Eldritch the Golden Lord. However, Earth-Shattering Event doesn't seem like it would do that at that moment. So that's definitely something I'll have to check out. Next, we got ourselves Garura. Interesting. 2 monsters with the same type. Different. Yeah, Super Folly target, Super Folly target. Plus, we got ourselves Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, quick effect, you can discard this card. Reveal 1 card in your extra deck. Look at your opponent's extra deck. Banish all cards in the extra deck with the same name. So I guess this is more for mirror matches, right? And that honestly has insane potential because it just that card is no longer a problem. So that can shut down an entire Tearlaments deck. Looks like this is the end of the list. Overall, I would say this is a solid list. I learned about a couple new cards, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm really, really excited to try out some of these at least. So, and then others, I'm thinking, should I pick this up? Should I not? Maybe I should wait on that. But overall, you guys can let me know what you guys think. Are there any other cards that you'd maybe think about using against Tearlaments? You guys can let me know in the comments down below. And this is PlotArmorCards, guys, signing out for the day. If you like what you see, don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you in the next video.